People are finally seeing through it, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We got so many things to cover in this video. Over the last 48 hours, so many things happened. We had a number of stores going under. Now we even have Walgreens. We'll get into that in a second here. And we're going to talk about also a bank going under overnight. First National Bank of Lindsay closes. We'll get into that in a minute here. We're going to talk about someone showing up at McDonald's and actually a ton of other stuff. Let's just get into this. We'll start here. Walgreens to close 1,200 stores amid billions in quarterly losses. We're now seeing the effects of this inflation. They obviously bit off more than they could chew, with the Fed raising or lowering rates 50 basis points. You have, of course, 7-Eleven closing more than 400 locations as well. And that's not all, as you can see here on the screen. Lots of stores closing overall, all throughout America right now. And it's just become more and more obvious as the days go on, as we see things become more and more expensive. But while they're at the same time telling us this, Yellen says U.S. economy remains solid, on path for soft landing, with no meaningful layoffs. Really? Really? That's why McDonald's, major French fry supplier, is closed their doors. It makes total sense. But that's while, of course, 45 goes there and is serving up French fries to everybody. And actually, I wasn't going to get into that right yet because I got so many other windows open here. But we did have him show up at McDonald's serving people right here, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, we also have something else that happened recently as well. A gas station putting up prices from when he was in. We're talking $2 cheaper per gallon. We'll get into that in a second also. But looking at this inflation is absolutely ridiculous. Let's play this clip here.
One word that has, for many, turned their American dream into a nightmare. In our audience are over 250 people sharing how they or someone they love is desperate for financial relief. Living in a car is hard.
But it can happen to anyone.
I don't believe.
So you can see, of course, even Dr. Phil now is covering this topic of inflation because it's become so prevalent of recent. Everyone talking about it. And I saw this interesting little picture here showing how much you must make to live comfortably in every state of America if you have a family of 4. And looking at these wages are just, this is not even remotely near the actual wages people make. Let me show you the actual wages. So this is like, basically the lowest is like about 178. The highest is like 300, right? 1,000 per year, per state. This is what people actually make per state. Basically 50,000 to 80,000, or actually 90,000, I think, over here. But we're seeing obviously a huge disparity. This is median household incomes, 47,000 to 88,000 being the highest. And they say to live comfortably, you need to make this much, right? About 250,000. Clearly, obviously, a lot of people not living comfortably right now, considering those wages. And of course, we have here Benny apparently taking over a gas station and lowering the price $2 per gallon to $1.84, because that was actually the median gas price. If you remember, during those 4 years when he was in his tenure, 184 versus what is it today? 384 about? So that's the price difference. And let me play a couple clips here.
Thank you for making gas cheap again.
Great again. Look, she got the pants. Make this gas great again. Trump's gonna put those in the store.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of people excited and happy to get gas for $2 cheaper per gallon. And he, of course, is saying he is going to take care of this inflation nightmare when he gets back, of course, in. And I really hope so, because obviously these prices are getting absolutely ridiculous at this point. But we're going to get into a ton of stuff, like I said. We're going to talk about what Bank of America recently said. And we're going to get into also something that happened at her rally that is now everyone's been talking about, and how she tried to cover it up. We'll get into that as well. And actually a ton of other stuff. Even Usher, something rather curious about the singer Usher, we're going to get into, and much more. First, I got to mention Food Supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 3 months worth for $6.97. This is the higher calorie count version. Link is in the description. You're going to definitely want to get this if you have not already. Considering all the things going on around us, all the wonderful things going on around us, you might want to have this just in case. We're also going to have a little bit about world WAR potentials at the end of this video, because that clearly is something also that seems to be happening. We had China just say that they're getting prepared for something. Well, that's kind of interesting. We'll get into that also, but you might want to get that. Link is in the description. Of course, this book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity, How to Build a Cellar, Do Things Around the House Like in the Good Old Days, hundreds of pages illustrated. If there is something going to happen, if the Vladmeister pushes, of course, that button, you're going to definitely want to have this book, okay? Get the printed version, $37 plus shipping. Link is in the description. Let's get back to the video. So, of course, Bank of America says gold is the last safe haven amid rising U.S. national debt. Matter of fact, the U.S. national debt rose $500 billion in like less than a week. Like, what are they spending this money on? That was, I had the graph open. I actually closed it because I showed it in the last video. Unbelievable. It just goes like this. It's already going at an insane rate upwards. And then it goes like this. I'm like, that was recent. That was the most recent. Just spend $500 billion for what? What did they spend it on? I don't know. But of course, obviously, things are not looking too well for our economy. It's wise to get some gold and silver if you have not already. I have AppMex linked in the description. They have some deals going on right now. Might want to go check it out. Obviously, whenever there's a stock market crash, gold and silver does quite well. And actually, gold has done better than a lot of people's 401ks this year, particularly my wife's. I was actually looking at the percentage of raise, and actually gold went up higher. Also on top of that, when the stock market crashes, during the Great Depression, gold went up 61%. So we know a stock market crash is coming very soon based on the yield curve uninverting. It's wise to have some gold and silver. Also, it's a good hedge just to protect all that hard-earned money you made, considering all the inflation going on around us. Now, of course, recently at one of her rallies, someone said something in the crowd. Let's play this really quick.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
As you can see there, she's mocking the guy for saying that. He said, Jesus is Lord. And she says, oh, you're at the wrong rally. She even has her accent, of course. And everyone starts laughing. That's what they think of your faith. Of course, the very next day, can you guess what she did? She went to a Baptist church, had a big, huge event going to a Baptist church, walking in, everybody's, looking at her as she's coming in. Of course, she's going to go to a church the next day. Can't have a clip like that going around. People seeing that kind of stuff. They don't want you to think she's not really into it. She's not into your faith, right? Of course. So she goes to a Baptist church the next day. Makes total sense, right? But also, she refused to attend the Al Smith Catholic dinner, and she's only the second person to ever not attend it. And some are wondering why she didn't go. I don't know. Maybe because the last time he roasted the other person pretty bad. I don't know. It's hard to say. But it is interesting looking at sort of the things that she does. And she can't really get away with these things, even though, again, the next day she went to a Baptist church. Those that are not exactly paying attention might not notice the original story and what she really thinks about things like church. But I don't know, you get the idea. So then we have this clip here with Bill Maher, and he's talking to Gabbard, and this is really interesting what they have to say. This is something that just came out. It has to do with the draft. The military, of course, draft.
Have brought this up for I don't know what reason, saying now we want women to register because there's 250,000 women in the military right now. And if something was so catastrophic that we did have to draft people, why shouldn't women go? But why bring it up in an election?
So he's actually thinking that women should also be drafted, but check out what she says in response to him here. All right. So we can get to that part. I think it starts around here, if I can get it on the right thing. I don't know if I can. Here we go.
Well, first of all, we shouldn't have a draft.
At all?
No, I don't think so.
What if it's an emergency?
Well, the fact that they're bringing this up now, to me, points to the fact that the only reason we would need a draft is because our warmongering politicians are starting wars that they know the American people aren't going to support. When you look at what happened after...
She goes on to say that basically they've made it where it is mandatory, and not only that, you don't have to fill out a card. You don't have to fill out a card to be in the draft. Before, you actually had to fill out a card to get into the draft. Now it's 100% automatic. If you're 18 years old, you're automatically in the draft, man or woman. Before, it was only men, and you had to also fill out a card beforehand so that you weren't automatically drafted. See what I mean? So now it's just automatic no matter what. And you're just men or woman, automatically 18, you're automatically drafted. That's why they put that out there. Oh, women, of course, are the same as men. Oh, they should be what? They're doing it. They're using that as a justification. They get you behind it. Not you, but others on the other side get behind it. And then they go in and they do this. They say, oh, okay, then all of you are going to be drafted. So they're doing that now, which is pretty ridiculous. But it shows you what their plans and intentions are, because they want to have a world WAR probably, or something not good in that realm. That's basically what they're trying to do. They're trying to get enough people so that they could do that. All right. And then, of course, we have this. This is something rather curious. This has to do, this might seem a little off topic, but actually you'll see it's actually right on top, right on what we're talking about. Check this out. And this has to do with Diddy. This has to do with those affiliated with Diddy that went to his parties. Now, check this out.
Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him.
Okay, you heard what she had to say regarding Usher at the end. Now, who is Usher supporting and attending a convention for? Of course, her. And this was yesterday. And I find it really curious that Usher's out supporting and promoting her. We know he's right in the midst of this whole thing with P. Diddy. It shows you kind of what's going on, my friends. This is all while she claimed to have worked, at a McDonald's. And actually, apparently 45 has now, at least for 20 minutes time. He worked at one, apparently did the fries at least. I think he did the fries, and he also handed the orders to customers through the drive-through window. And I don't know, man, that's pretty cool if you ask me. I mean, he likes eating there, and he worked there. I mean, that's more than we can say for the other person, right? I don't even know if she's ever eaten there. I know this guy eats there all the time. So I'm not saying they're the best food in the world either, okay? Because I don't usually go there. Let's just put it that way. But it is kind of funny, though, that he went there and worked there 20 minutes at least. And he's obviously pointing out that she never did. But it's just kind of funny. So we see that going on as well. And now getting back over to the whole thing with the draft, look at this. Check this out. So we have new documents showing intelligence on a certain Middle East war coming, as you can see here, with Iran. And This seems to be ramping, of course, up as well, but that's not all. That's not the only one. It seems like all this is coming at the same time. You have China preparing as well for one, maybe with Taiwan. I don't know what's going on with this. He's saying they need to get prepared. I'm like, really? Right now? Seriously? This is like not the best timing for all these type of things, but that's what's going forward. It is obviously a little strange. Makes you kind of wonder. Obviously, the time frame we're in, I've talked about it in the previous video. We're clearly seeing the signs of what's going on. Now, what's interesting is 45 had his picture imprinted on a coin with Cyrus. Cyrus was a king from around 540 BC, and I believe that is prophetic in nature, and it relates to the time we're in right now as well. And I actually go into detail about this over my other channel, God Rules. All of this opens the door for the Esther narrative. Now, what is this Esther narrative? Let me show you something. We actually have the exact same celestial season as Esther, which was 480 BC. As you can see here, our solar eclipses landed on the exact same days, other than this one. It was one day off or half a day off. September 18th, October 2nd, March 25th. This April 8th one actually could be the same day if you count the way they used to delineate days. Days used to be at sundown. That was the end of the day. Not anymore. Now it's midnight. But that's how they used to think back then. So maybe it would be the same day if we did it with the other old sort of way of calculating days, which again is sundown to sundown, which is not what we do today, right? We have a different type of calendar. We analyze days differently than they did back then. But interestingly, of course, Esther saved her nation, right? And there is an interesting chapter that was removed from the book of Esther, the last chapter. It was put in the Apocrypha, called Mordecai's Dream, about two dragons fighting for, of course, power, vying for it over, the world. And I think that's what we're dealing with right now, my friends. I think we're dealing with the red dragon and its last stand. It wants to have power, right? I mean, it is. We're in the year of the dragon. We're in the year of the dragon. And I do think there is some relation here, because I think 45 is a Cyrus type figure. Okay? That is what he is. This is all very mystically and esoterically anti-Babylonian. So we've been under a Babylonian type system. Cyrus was known to stop that system. He was from Persia. So is 45 going to stop the system we're under and make a better system? We also had the secret Esther month of Adar 2 this year as well, typologically being represented by a Cyrus, prophetically leading a role in destroying an old, of course, system, and being enlightened by some sort of Daniel type advisor. A lot of people are predicting there's going to be someone who will help him out soon here, and he'll be really well known and seen next year. He'll be sort of up in the limelight, this Daniel type figure. We'll see who that might be as time goes on, but I do think that a lot of these things are for a reason that we see around us. This isn't just random chance. I believe there isn't a creator above. I think that things we see around us are for a reason. At any rate, that's my video. I kind of want to see what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.